All right, guys. I welcome to the show. It's been a while since I've had a live, and I'm so glad to be here. I want to first of all make you guys aware that this is a house that we're renting. It's a new studio that I'm trying to set up. Is actually, you can see there's nothing really here. So I have been remiss in doing lives. It's been kind of a hectic part. Actually, the last like almost 8 or 9 months have been really crazy hectic for me, and I don't need to get into that. Everybody's got their own problems. I'm very blessed and very happy, and I want to get right back at it, get back to helping people training their dogs. And I have taken some time off, and I'm really turn off the volume here. Um, really made a commitment to training Shmoo. So what I'm doing for people who are trying to get me to do private sessions and stuff, I'm not doing any private sessions. I'm just focused on the work at hand of maintaining the site and maintaining the membership section, maintaining my YouTube and stuff like that, and providing really good educational dog training, dog help stuff, videos, advice, etc. On the flip side, I also said that since I've gotten to this place in my life, most of you guys don't know, I'm 60 years old. I've had a very full life, a very good life, a very great life. I mean, a life I could have never imagined having. I've taken the last, I'd say, 6 months or so, and it's not because of the fire, but because I'm really dedicated to training Shmoo. I'm having the greatest time training him, and I think you're seeing a lot of that joy in the posts I'm making, the videos I'm sharing, the lessons I'm sharing. If you remember my online training at robertcabral.com, you would see that. And I hope you're enjoying that, because I'm really enjoying getting down to what they call the brass tacks and just really training him. I didn't have that opportunity with Goofy. I was busy working. I was very, very busy doing stuff, training dogs and such. So I didn't have the opportunity to do it. I also got Maya really closely when he was about 2, which was a lot of work. Um, so this time I've got this amazing opportunity. I'm in a really good place financially. I'm I'm just hi. Janet just said hi from Kent. Hi Janet and hi Kent. I'm in a really good place. I've got a great dog. I've got a great wife. I mean, I've got a great wife. I've got a great dog, and I've got some great opportunity with people I know that are helping me with training. So I'm really dedicated to that. On that note, I want to focus on telling you guys that there is so much fun stuff you can do with your dog. And I'm so glad Janet's tuned in. She's at an agility show right now. Janet is, in my opinion, an amazing dog trainer, an amazing human being, but an amazing dog trainer. She has done stuff with Boz, the rescue dachshund, um, Jimmy, a seeing eye dog, a career change, seeing eye dog, and Dwayne, that you wouldn't imagine, right? And I watch sometimes, and I watch her do something. Like now she's also doing scent work. So she's done agility, obedience, field work, hunting work, and now scent work. And she's excelled in all of those. She's put titles on dogs. I mean, I can tell you something. There's some famous dog trainers online who haven't put a title on a dog and couldn't do what this girl does, and she doesn't even call herself a dog trainer. She's an amazing dog trainer, but she focuses really on having fun. In other words, she's not making money at it. Yeah, she'll be the first to admit to you she doesn't deal with dogs that have behavioral issues and stuff like that, and that's where I cut my teeth. But the idea of having fun with your dog, and so many people overlook that. I want to focus in this live, at least the first part before I get to your questions, about so many amazing fun things you can do with your dog. Let's start out and look at dog sports. So, there's protection sports, there's IGP, there's Mondial Ring, there's French Ring, there's PSA, there's Belgian Ring. All of those are really fun. I've done Mondial Ring obedience, and I've done Schutzen or IGP protection and obedience and tracking. And in that, there is so much great stuff to do, right? Tracking is something that, I mean, I love tracking with my dog because it's a very Zen experience. It's very meditative, but it's also an amazing connection. It's somewhere where the dog is truly allowed to be a dog, to use their skills. And there's no real training in in tracking. It's something the dog is doing and something that you try to couple with what you want and kind of fine tune it. But it's something where the dog is really, you can't put your nose down and tell the dog how to track. This is something that they naturally do. And a lot of dog sports are focused on a natural instinct of the dog. And I think that's so helpful. So there's great organizations out there. There's really great stuff you can do. Like if you were going to go into IGP, for example, which is my favorite of the three of the protection dog sports, because I find it's very refined, it's very methodical, very German A-type personality kind of stuff, precision oriented. There are three aspects to it, and you can do three, or you can do two, or you can do just one. You could just, if you had a dog, like I talked to this young man, Connor, who I'm helping along on the East Coast. He's got a dog out of similar lines of Goofy. And I said, well, this dog would be great for just tracking or just obedience. He's not going to do protection. He's not cut out for that. And anybody who puts a dog into protection that's not bred for it and doesn't have the genetics for it is a fool. It's really unfair to the dog, unfair to the sport, unfair to the people helping, and very unfair to the owner. But that being said, you have a German Shepherd, you have a Malinois, you have a Rottweiler, Doberman, Dutch Shepherd, whatever. Go do something with them. They're bred for part of it. You can do the obedience part of it with it. You can do the tracking part with them. And that's an important component that people tend to overlook, that you don't have to do everything in order to do something. So let's look at other things. Agility is something I'm just getting into with Shmuley. And I used to watch people doing it. At first, when I very first saw it, I'm sure I thought exactly what all of you guys thought. Amazing skills are required to do it. When I first saw it, I was like, oh, how hard is it to do? Get your dog jump over that and climb over that and go under this tunnel. Well, if you watch somebody like Melissa Henning, you watch somebody like Vittorio Papavera, you watch somebody like Desiree Snellman, you watch these top competitors, it's insanely, it's a perfect dance between these people. When I watch top agility people running their dogs, it is like nothing I have ever seen. Nothing more beautiful, nothing more connected, that this dog is going full bore in one direction and at a tone of a voice or a shift of a hand switches direction. I am so in love with agility right now. I can tell you, I love it. And it's something you can do at a very minimal level. You could go join little classes at local clubs, and please don't contact me and ask me where these classes are. Go online, search for dog clubs, look at AKC events and stuff like that. AKC has a lot of events. I'm not a fan of a lot of the AKC breed stuff, but I'm a big fan of the fact that they're making billions of dollars, but that they are putting forth activities that we can do with our dogs, right? Agility is an amazing, incredible, fun, connective thing that you can do with a slow dog. And the dog doesn't have to be fast. It's much harder with a fast dog. Trust me, with Shmoo, it's very hard. I first did it with Jimmy, and Jimmy was, a saint. He was like, he would do anything you want him to do. It was perfect. That being said, Janet trained him from square one. So all these great things you can do with your dog are out there, right? So agility is another one. You can do field work. If you have a Labrador, field work is a great thing to do with the dog. Or just all these things that you can do on a competitive level, you can also do on a recreational level, which is just go out to a nice park, a big field, and teach your dog a retrieve, teach your dog a recall. If you want to take it to the next level, sure, you can take it to the next level, and you can go to things like AKC hunt events, field events, and stuff like that. You can get a good trainer, and have them teach you the proper way to get out there and do these activities with your dog. Obedience is another thing. Obedience is something that every breed of dog can and should do. To some level, to one level or another, your dog should understand obedience. And forget what, nutcases tell you that a dog doesn't need to listen to you and this and that. There's no happier dog than the dog that is connected to people, their person, in obedience. No happier dog. I can tell you that 1000% that if you want a happy dog, communicate with them. And communicating means that that dog knows what you want when you want it. Just like you should know when your dog needs to go outside, or your dog wants to play, or your dog wants to scratch on the head. That's their communication back to you. You need to have a communication with them that they too understand. And that's something that's not hard to do. It's actually super fun to do. The dogs absolutely love it because it gives them a better connection with you. So obedience is fun. I'm trying to think what else there is. There's I said agility, hunting, protection. I mean, there's simple things like dock diving. And I'm not saying dock diving is simple, but dock diving is another activity you can do with your dog. There's a new thing now in AKC called fetch, which is something super fun for the dog. There's fly ball. There's what's it, canicross. There is herding. Herding is another great thing for a lot of dogs. But to do something, to have an activity of something that you're going to do with your dog is really going to benefit your, first of all, your overall mental health, because it gives you this focus and this ability to really connect with your dog in a way that you're not going to normally connect, but also a way to start thinking. Like when you do something like agility is one thing that I see Janet do it, and there's 20 obstacles. Now, it looks easy, but I'm going to tell you something. It's not. So you have to know where to start the dog. You have to know the order of all those obstacles while you're running full tilt in a certain direction. The dog is running full tilt in another direction. You need to be able to get the dog over the hurdles without knocking them, without crashing into something. And I mean crashing into something, you crashing into something, as well as remembering where you need to be so the dog doesn't run into you and you don't run into the judge. So that mental, excuse me, that mental acuity, that mental ability to continue that connection is huge. It's really, really huge. And you know what I find really interesting is I'm just looking down every once in a while, I look down at the stats. This is a video that, most videos that I do have, I mean, 300 or so viewers. Now, we've got 69 eyeballs in here right now, 69 bodies between Facebook and YouTube, which I think is crazy low, right? It's obscenely low. I'm going to tell you something. Most people are driven by drama, right? They want to see the dog biting, the dog attacking, the dog this, the dog that. Happiness is a serious problem. Dennis Prager wrote a book on that. I read it a long time ago, and it really is, because to get away from the drama, to get away from the turmoil, the gossip, the anger, the hostility that's present in today's friendships, social media, politics, life in general, is something that's so important. It's something that I'm really focusing on for myself because I'm tired of it. I'm really over all of it. And I said that to Janet. I say it to her every single day, that I'm burnt. I'm burnt out. People need to start connecting on a better level. And you can certainly do that with your dog, right? You can certainly do that with the connection you have with your dog, which is one reason why I'm not very present on social media. I mean, I've got a guy who does my reels for me. I shoot them and then, put them up. But have hardly been shooting anything lately because I'm so focused on this connection with me and Shmoo. And I've been going to a lot of trials with Janet, with Dwayne, watching him doing his nose work, which is, oh, there's another thing. I didn't even talk about nose work. Nose work is a new thing that Janet's been doing with Dwayne. And when I watched her first start, I was like, wow, how is this going to work? Because I've talked to a lot of people like my friend Steve Stoops, who's probably one of the best detection dog trainers there is, he worked with Kenny Licklider, worked with, Mike and Dave Reaver, I mean, when you're talking about detection and, it's something like, okay, it's an AKC trial and the dog has to find your scent, or it's a nose work trial and the dog has to find the oil in the one of the cardboard boxes. That's one thing. But when you're talking about somebody who is doing real detection work, that means the dog is out in 100 and something degree heat in the Middle East somewhere, sniffing for a bomb. And if he doesn't find it, or he finds it the wrong way, people are going to die. So it's a different game. Now, that's the people that I've kind of watched. Now, when I watched Janet starting to do it, I was like, wow, I was very intrigued because it was a very, very different approach than the way I'd been taught it's done. And she has done so well with it. She started about I want to say about 9 months ago. It was like late last year she started it. And it's when we still had a house. That's why I kind of remember it. And she started and worked it and worked it and worked it. And I'll tell you something. This last month was the first time she went to a trial. And between last month and this month, she did 4 trials. And you know what happened? She got a title. 3 days, 3 tries, got the title. Not one failure, which is, a testament to her dedication to it, but also something to think about. Like, that's a really fun thing to do. A dog can naturally work his nose. You need to figure out how to put that on cue. You need to figure out how to make that fun and rewarding, but it's a connection between you and the dog. It's a connection that will serve you so well throughout the life of this animal, giving them something to do. I remember Goofy before he died. I mean, I would say a day before he died, before he laid down, took his last breath, he was in the yard healing with me and Shmoo. He loved to do healing. He loved nothing more to be next to me, to be connected to me. And that's something that you can do for the entire life of your dog. For the entire life of your dog, you will have that connection. You will have that ability for your dog to do something with you that makes them happy. And happiness. I was talking with Danny Craig, a great breeder and great friend of mine, and we were talking about diseases like cancer and stuff in dogs. And he said, one of the greatest causes of cancer and stuff like that is stress. And training a dog in a very good, fair, balanced, normal way reduces stress in dogs. Dogs that are not trained are always under stress because they don't know what you want and you're constantly berating them. Dogs that are trained in an overly heavy-handed, stressful way, it's bad for the dogs, right? We have to be honest that we're not necessarily saying that not training a dog is beneficial to the dog. Training the dog is beneficial to the dog, but it must be done right. It must be done humanely. It must be done fairly. And whether or not you're using a pinch collar, an e-collar, a slip lead, or whatever, has nothing to do with the humaneness of it. Right? Every single dog that is trained properly is given corrections, is given rewards, is given communication, and everything. There's no way in the world you're going to do it without it. So think about fun activities. And if you have questions here today, I want to address the ones that really focus on fun activities you can do with your dog, because that's what I kind of want to spend a little time focused on. I really want to spend a little time on making the world a better place for dogs and the people who love them. That's always been my slogan. That's always been my motto. It's always been what I believe 100% in. And by the way, this is the shirt from Maya. I'm going to see if I can show it to you here. Every day is training day. And I just got this shirt. I'm working with a new company called Dashery. So if you're interested in one of these shirts, I'm really going to go through and make some really, really cool shirts. And thank you for remembering Goofy, Ibra. This shirt you can get, and there's Goofy shirts there, and I will be making a series of new shirts, a lot of ideas I've gotten from people, that things they want to see in shirts, that we'll be making some really cool product lines, cool branding of my brand. And I thank you so much for your support of my site and of my brand. So that being said, that was my first 20 minutes of the chat. Let's get to some questions. Let's see if there's any. If you've written any in before, you might want to put them back in, but I'm going to kind of go through here. Why don't we do this? I'm going to, instead of looking through the questions, which could take forever, why don't I start now, and I'll start answering questions now if you put them down. Instead of me scrolling back all the way through, I think it would defeat the purpose. It would have me in this this doomsday scroll. If you can remember to put a question mark in front of the question, that would be great. If you that would make it a lot easier for me to find it. But if you can't, then I will search through. Let's see here. Yeah, I mean, again, if you can make the questions about training, it'd be really great, because I'd like to kind of stay focused on that today, because I'd like to keep it about training. I think that would be the best methodology to stay in the head. If you have a real important question you need me to address, happy to do that. And like I said, if you're not a member of my site at robertcabral.com, consider doing that. Right now, we're having an issue with the credit card processing. You have to sign up through PayPal, but you can use a credit card through PayPal, obviously, without creating an account. We're working on fixing that. And okay, where can I learn nose work online? Just there's, I would Google it. I'm sure there's plenty of courses online where you can learn it. Um, find someone who does it. I don't really teach it. Nose work, specifically nose work, is an AKC. I think it's an AKC term, and it's done with a series of 4 odors: cypress, birch, a clove might be one of them, or whatever. But they're little oils, and they're put on like a little cotton pad, and that cotton pad is hidden then in a box somewhere, and you have to find it. But you really just need to search it. Search online nosework classes, and you'll probably find something. But try to get in person. A lot of times people get hooked up all this online stuff, and trust me, I'm the biggest proponent of online training because I think there is some really great stuff out there. But nothing will replace getting hands-on with a person, with a trainer, with somebody there. I can tell you that I've trained a lot of people online, thousands of people online. The people who worked with me in person got that extra little touch where it was like, oh, you're making this mistake here. So I would certainly have done that. Okay, here's a question. Let's see. Okay, here's a couple of questions. Actually, this is really great. Okay, so thank you, Celeste. That was a fun video. The video of me doing um, this the Kong videos. It was very, very, very fun. I really had a good time doing that. Okay, Carla says, what is a word you inadvertently taught your dog that you use all the time? Mine is scoot, so my dog will move and find a new spot to sit on the bed or couch. I'm not sure of your question. I mean, I have taught my dog move, and move is always like wherever you are, be somewhere different. And it's an important one for me because I'm getting on the bed, he's on the bed, I go, hey, move. I don't necessarily want him to get off the bed, I want him to move out of my way. Or if I'm trying to come through a door and he's in front of me, I'll say move. Communication with our dogs is so important, and it's something we so often completely overlook. Communicating with your dog is something that, a lot of times, and I've said it in the past, it should be one word. It should be this, it should be that. No, commands should be one word. Sit, down, come, stay, leave, whatever it is. But communication with your dog, and I remember Danny Craig saying this to me maybe a year or two ago. He said, if you have a really good relationship with your dog, you should be able to talk to them in sentences, and they should understand what you mean. And I found that really powerful, right? I found it really interesting that you could actually have that. Of course, they're not going to understand the entire sentence, but they will certainly understand the meaning of what you're saying if you form a really nice connection with your dog. And that's really the goal. Form a good connection with your dog. That's it. That's what my real goal is, to get so many more people to have that. Robert says, I have used treats for training. Nearly all have chicken. My dog is allergic. Alternatives. I'll give you a great alternative, Robert, and you're going to love this one. I use ZWePeak. Now you can go on my site and you can use my code Cabral20 and you get 20% discount. And that's not the reason I'm promoting it. I've promoted ZWePeak before I was ever an ambassador of the brand. But they make a pure beef formula that has no chicken in it whatsoever, and there's no byproducts in this at all. It's rather expensive, but it's like a beef jerky, and they have all beef formula, which is their air dried beef formula, which is beef and has some muscles in it. But I mean, I put it in my mouth, and I have it in my mouth, and I feed it from my mouth, all beef. They also have a beef pumpkin recipe that I feed my dog that's very, very healthy, and that's a steam dried formula, which is really spectacular. And they'd like me to say recipe instead of formula, but that would be my one go-to, would be ZWePeak. I find Tug with clear objectives and boundaries to be the best personally. And it can be. Tug is an amazing dog for your dog to learn. Tug is an amazing game for your dog to learn because it connects you in a way that playing ball with them doesn't, right? It's actually a fight, a wrestling with your dog. It's like wrestling with your friends. It's different than, you know, bicycling with them. Wrestling is an intimate personal connection. Tug is an intimate personal connection between you and your dog. It's a connection where the dog has to understand clear boundaries. He's only allowed to bite on that little tug, right? He has to let go when you say let go. He has to bite when you say bite. He has to fight hard, pretend it's a fight, 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 and then let go. And then you put obedience in there. And I mean, yeah, tug is, there's no greater game than tug. Tug is my favorite game to play with my dog. Some dogs won't play tug. Everybody says, oh, you know, every dog will play tug. That's not true. I mean, Janet went to a really well-known trainer who said every dog can play tug. I know every dog can't play tug. It's without a doubt. There's a lot of dogs that won't play tug. Working dogs in general, sure, they'll play tug, but to get a rather soft dog to play tug, it's a conflict for the dog because it's a fight that they don't understand. So tug is the best game for the right dog and the worst game for the wrong dog. So think about that. Okay, you don't have a question in front of this, Heidi, but I'm going to look at it here. When I play with my girl, she gets overexcited and jumps on me instead of playing with a toy together. What is the best way to reset her? Well, one thing you have to be careful about, with some dogs, we get too excited in the game. So we have to be able to temper our level of excitement for the dog. You can't just say, okay, you know, I'm gonna do all this stuff because the dog is going to get jacked so much harder than they can handle, right? We want to keep the dog in their bracket, right? This is their box. This is what they can handle. That's where you got to keep them. Don't get a dog more excited, and don't try to get a dog off. You know, if they're an excited dog, don't try to crush that excitement. Manage that excitement. That's really important. But trying to crush it and stop it, it's not going to help. So just keep your energy lower, bring your dog into your energy chain, and let them play with you from there. It shouldn't be that hard to do. Let's see. What is this here? I don't know if this is a question or not, but it's a big one. I do nose work with all my dogs, even my 19-year-old Pomeranian. And God bless you, Marcia. That's exactly what you should. I love hearing that. That you take an old dog and you still give them the ability to do something fun. I mean, that really makes me so happy because that's what you want to be doing. That's it. That's such a blessing. Anyway, I digress. Have a Malinois 4 years and a 2-year-old Schipperke. They love it. I also do scent games, discrimination, show me the lemon, the lime, the avocado, etc. Show me a treat hidden in which fist. That's awesome. You're a special commitment. Thank you very much. But yeah, God bless you. That's really, really great that you actually go through and help your dog to continue to play and to train and to engage and to connect. That's what keeps our dog's spirit alive. And it's so important because we sometimes lose sight of that spirit in our dogs, right? Sometimes we just don't give them that connection. Like when they get older, and it's like, okay, well, they're sitting at home and I'm out with my new dog. You know, it's something I didn't do. You know, I never did it. When Goofy was getting old, you know, I would train Shmoo in the backyard, and you know, I would come home and we would all be together. We were, he was equally as important, if not more important. The older dog, I find, often gets pushed to the side, but when you do games with them, like um, obedience and stuff. I mean, Goofy and Shmoo, I've got video somewhere of Shmoo and Goofy doing obedience together. Is the cutest thing ever. I mean, there's nothing I love more than, you know, seeing that with an older dog. Okay, I think this is the question here. When my German Shepherd tries to play with my 2-year-old niece, she is always accidentally running into her. How can I help these two play safely and both enjoy it? So, you really have to manage the dog because you have I'm trying to see, your niece is 2 years old, so she's kind of like just toddling around and stuff. And your German Shepherd, I don't know how old that dog is. But what I would certainly do is I would certainly have the dog on a leash and teach the dog some basic control. Like don't throw a ball or a frisbee or a tug when the child's around. That's the time you want to teach the dog to settle down. Now, if I could, I can't do it because I'll screw up my camera, but if you looked right now, I'm sitting here behind my desk, and over to there, Shmuley is laying in his bed, in his Barney bed, and just absolutely crashed out. Now, we've only taken one walk today, so we've only had 1 mile walk, and I was about 6:30 right after Janet left for agility, and he's relaxing. Now, part of it's genetics, yes, but the other part is a solid boundary. Like, okay, we're not playing. And he was created quite a bit in the beginning in the house, and now he's not created as much. In fact, he's hardly ever created in the house. Maybe if I go out or something, but um, let him just chill. Like teach him an off switch, and that's what you got to do with your German Shepherd, right? You got to make sure that that dog knows. Okay, we got company over. Time just lay down. Just lie down. Maybe put her in a crate. The dog. I don't know if the dog's a boy or a girl. The dog can go in a crate and all that. So. Okay, Shannon says, can you guys even read this? It's too small and make it a little bit bigger. I have a German Shepherd and he's very protective of us in the house. I want him to be a protector and to be okay with people coming in. Well, that can be a conflict right there. So, but let's get into it. How do I engage his need to protect and have him comfortable with people in the house? Okay, this is a fantastic, fantastic question. The question of having a dog be protective but okay with people in the house is a conflict in your mind. It's not a conflict in anybody else's mind, but your mind. If you have a dog, they will naturally be protective. Shmuley would naturally be very, very protective. My only goal is not to teach him to be protective in my house, but to teach him to be accepting of people in my house. Now, Shmuel is a little bit suspicious of people. He's kind of like, oh, okay, who's this guy? Not in a dangerous way. He's not like he's lunging, barking, trying to bite people. In fact, when he goes up to people, he's very friendly. Does not kill his protective nature, right? First of all, my dogs, I don't want them to be protectors. I'm here to protect my dogs. My dogs should feel safe. So I want to be clear that the dog understands when I bring somebody in the house, they're okay. So, for example, my friends Steve and Jason were visiting just the other day, and I said, okay, well, Shmoo's going to be in the house. Dwayne was in the house. We were outside. I let Shmoo out. He ran around. He saw him. We walked in the house together. We were in the house for hours. No issues, right? If you have an issue with a dog that doesn't like people coming into the house, the easiest way to solve that problem is to have the dog meet the person outside, and you can have the person give them a cookie or just be chill. I mean, I don't like people engaging my dogs a lot. I kind of want people to be neutral around my dogs. But if they meet them outside the house and then you walk in together, that should solve the problem for them. Because if you're bringing them in and they're coming in together, it's not like this one person is crossing over into their threshold, causing a conflict. But I would focus on getting more people into the house. That would be my goal. Okay, here's another question. Aquila the Wolf. I don't know if my question went through, but any tips on how to get a solid recall when deer are about my German Shepherd? He loves to chase, or about my German Shepherd loves to chase, and she does come back after we keep on calling her. So if you have a problem with a recall and the dog decides when they won't come, what you need to focus on is making the recall an absolute. And that's something I think most people don't do. Most people say, okay, well, the dog can, I'll call 3, 4, 5 times. I call my dog once. I say here. And if the dog doesn't come on here the first time, then I will correct the dog. I will go get the dog. I will use an e-collar on the dog because I'm not going to call my dog in a non-important way, right? If I want my dog to come, he must come. And an example, in a distraction of prey, once the dog is chasing something, it will be much harder to call him off of it. If you can get the dog in his initial phase of, oh, there's something there, it's a lot easier to get them off of the object. So I would focus on teaching a dog recall. I would use a long line. I would consider, depending on where you live, if your government hasn't shut down your rights to train your dog, I would consider using an e-collar, especially if you have things like livestock or wildlife around. You need a solid recall. Your dog's life depends on it. And if you think using an e-collar is a bad thing for fixing, cementing, or instilling a solid recall, think of the dogs that get, kicked by cows and get, and kill sheep and then are put down for it and all those things. The e-collar is a very humane tool. It teaches the dog an absolute. It's no more cruel than using a long line. Um, and for the dopes who are going to say it can be abused, so can a long line. What if somebody took a long line and hung a dog from a tree? It's a long line, right? It was their decision that made it cruel. An e-collar can be used to correct the dog until they're coming to you, and then abundant praise. It can bring them to praise. So, oh, now there's okay. I'm going to jump ahead. Jamie is one of the most amazing people um, that I know. He's a spectacular dog trainer. And when I was actually, Jamie, I want you to know when I was talking about this recall with livestock, it's you I think about because Jamie has done more work in the UK for dogs that are at risk for being put down because they don't have a recall. And he's gone toe to toe on this e-collar issue in the most eloquent, beautiful way. He's an educated, spectacular trainer, one of the best trainers I've seen. I mean, I saw him do blind retrieves on a dog, like a mile long blind retrieve. I mean, things that are out of this world. Jamie, you're an amazing guy. I love you, brother. Um, I'm just glad you were here. And God, 25th wedding anniversary. I love you more to your lovely wife. God bless you guys, man. Thank you for chiming in here. And thanks for checking in too. Um, so anyway, check out Jamie, Take the Lead Dog Training. Let's see here. Dana, do you think it's good for dogs to do protection work to teach them when to bite and when not to? It depends on the dog, right? People get into protection work, and I'll tell you one of my pet peeves. I don't like, it's going to sound so wrong, but I'm going to say it anyway. I don't like seeing floppy-eared dogs doing protection. I just don't. And I know people are going to say, oh, whatever. The breeds were so specifically formed and cultivated and harnessed and developed over so many years for certain behaviors, right? Now people say, well, I've got a Malinois who can do field work. Well, that's great. But there's no danger for a Malinois doing field work, right? To the dog or to the duck or pheasant or whatever you're bringing in. Yeah, I could teach my Malinois to do field work too. You wouldn't do it as well as Dwayne or some of these great dogs that I've seen people like Jeremy or Kevin, my friends, train. But why would I do it? So when I see floppy ear dogs, Labradors, Golden Retrievers, all these dogs doing protection work, I have a problem with it. I really do. I don't like seeing it. I think it's bad for the dog overall. I think the dog tends to take a position of confusion in it. They don't have the nerves to handle the pressure. And that being said, there's a lot of pointy-eared dogs, Malinois, German Shepherds, Dobermans, Rottweilers, whatever, that don't have the temperament for the sport either. Remember, it's a sport. But in that sport, there's a tremendous mental challenge for the dog. There's a mental fight that goes into it. And if the dog does not have the genetics for it, the dog won't do it. Then, if the dog is pressured into doing it, it destroys the dog. It just does. So people can tell me all they want. Oh, you're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong. You don't have a lot of experience with protection. And it's true. I only have been around the protection field for maybe 15 years, you know. But I've been very focused on researching it, understanding it, learning about it, and participating in it. But I can tell you, I have an incredible amount of experience in dog behavior. I have an incredible amount of experience in dog training and understanding dogs. And I can tell you, dogs can easily get messed up by putting them in positions where they're doomed to fail. So don't do it, right? Don't do it. It's not what I like to do. There's a video I talked about when I was interviewing Shannon Krieger, uh, um, Mike and Stoops, Mike Reaver and Steve Stoops. And I talked about that. Mike said he'd seen a video on Newt Fuchs's page of a golden retriever doing it, but it wasn't a golden retriever. It was another dog. I forget the name, what it was right now. But It was doing protection, but it wasn't a golden retriever. So um, I don't like it. When I see protection dogs, I think they should be doing protection dog sports, pointy ear dog sports. And when I see, floppy ear dogs, golden retrievers, labs, all these dogs, I don't like seeing them do the bite work. Just a personal thing. Um, and I always say this, like I'll put an opinion out there and say something, and then someone come back and challenge me. Well, I don't care if you challenge me. Like I don't care about most people's opinions, and that's not being selfish, right? What I'm saying is I don't want to engage frivolous people. Like, why am I going to play chess with a pigeon? Why am I going to, you know, um, do anything with someone who doesn't have the knowledge? The people I talk to, I've prided myself in finding the very, very best people. When I studied martial arts, I found the very, very best people. When I did photography, I surrounded myself with the very best people. When I learned dog training, I surrounded myself with the very best people, and I do to this day. To this very day, I ask questions to the people who know so much more than me. So when someone on Facebook says you're wrong, well, I don't care, right? I don't care if you think I'm wrong because you are not important to me. And that's something we all need to really focus on. So, when I post something on my page and then somebody comes and challenges it, well, unless that person challenging it is someone who, and I always will click on their profile and see who they are. Most of the time, they're just dopes. Most people who challenge me are coming on my page, and I know this is going to sound uh, egotistical, but it's not. But they're coming on my page to poach followers, right? They think, oh, if I argue with Robert Cabral, then these people are going to follow me. They're not going to follow you, right? You're wasting your time. Most of the time, if it's a really stupid comment, I'm going to block it. Because people who come on my page are looking for good information, and it's my job, it's my responsibility to ensure that the information on my page is good information. Unless I'm trying to really out somebody, really trying to, get somebody, you know, you guys know who that person is, those people are. I'm not gonna engage in a conversation. So, okay, Janine has a question here. My dog has panic attacks during walks when kids bounce basketballs in their driveways. How can I desensitize her? Well, the only way you can desensitize a dog from something is to expose them to that something. So I had, my dog Goofy, who when I first got him, he hated like flags and banners flapping or shopping carts going by. And the only way I got him used to it was making it okay. In my opinion, what I would do is I would get a basketball and I would, let him see the basketball. I would bounce the basketball once, give him a bunch of treats, bounce it again, give him a bunch of treats, have it around when he's eating. I would make that basketball something very benign to them. But to begin with, I would make it benign with me handling it, right? And then I would have maybe somebody in the house handling it. And then I would play tug with my dog and have somebody doing it. I would start to work them around it. Now, in the meantime, I would keep your dog away from the area where the kids are playing basketball. I mean, obviously, your neighborhood. Go the other way, right? Go away where there's nobody playing basketball. If you can't do that, put your dog in a car and drive him around, to a different neighborhood where there's nobody playing basketball. Protect your dog. Don't try to do this at home one time and then take them out and flood them with, 6 kids playing basketball around them. It's too soon. Take your time. Um, I don't know if this is a question or not, but it's a long one. I'm going to try to. Hello from Ontario. I am newly dog training apprentice and love all your advice. Thank you for your content. I decided to get a Schnauzer puppy. I like Schnauzers. They're very cute dogs. After we lost a 12-year-old husky, also while having 4 young boys, but it has been such an amazing experience training and bonding with our dog. Norman, he recently won 2 third-place ribbons in Urban Rat Race at only 7 months old at the time. I have a wonderful, that's very, very cool. Very, very cool. Thank you. Okay, I don't know what your name is. It's Am something. Do you still have a podcast? Okay, the podcast, I'm going to get back to it. I've been remiss again for 5 months. We've been in the, in a hotel. We're now back in a home. I will be getting back to the podcast very, very shortly. Thank you for asking me that. I do what's called fence check with my 18-month-old Karakachin, Karakashin puppy, working livestock guardian. What kind of games would you do? He doesn't play fetch. Well, livestock guarding dogs are not really, play type dogs. They're not really dogs that want to do that. I mean, what I would probably do is do some basic obedience, some basic, recall, some basic little tiny things. Um, I wouldn't do much beyond that. I don't. You kind of, I don't know why you got that breed. If you live on a farm, I hope that you did get a farm. You do live on a farm, or you do have livestock to guard, because a lot of times people get livestock guarding. I'm not saying this is you by any means, Richard. Um, People get a dog for the wrong reasons. Like, oh, I'm going to get a livestock guarding dog because it's a big dog, it looks powerful, it's this, it's that, and they live in the city. It's idiotic, right? It's you need to get a dog that one can fulfill their purpose, what they're bred for, not just because they're cute or they're powerful. That's why I hate people getting Malinois. It's the one of the breeds I'm most against people getting. Um, or they get these giant mastiffs, and I see somebody who's 100 pounds walking a 140-pound mastiff. It's a recipe for disaster. There's only one person that I know that I've known for 20 something years that can handle these mastiffs, and that's my friend Kyle Schwab. We had a podcast together. Kyle is, he has zero fear of animals, of dogs. Um, and I've seen him handle 150-pound, 170-pound mastiffs. I've seen him put five, six, seven of them in a play group in his yard. Something I would never do. I've handled those dogs, but I know at this point in my life, I'm 60 and I'm still strong as anything, but I wouldn't handle those dogs. But if you have a livestock guarding dog, that's kind of the dog's job, is to protect livestock and to kill, coyotes and wolves if they're going to come in. I would not be an expert on what games you can play, but I would certainly just focus on a good bonding, good obedience. Um, okay, here we go. Ibra, what kind of activities slash having fun for terrier mix would you recommend to have dog more relaxed? She's 9 months old, very high energy, high engaged, real terrier. She is real crazy. Well, remember something. Remember what your dog was bred to do. Every terrier was bred to kill vermin, right? That's what they're bred to do. So anything you do outside of that goes against their nature. This is why a lot of terriers are very aggressive to smaller dogs, because they see it as vermin or cats or anything like that. And you have to understand your dog is bred for a purpose. Untraining that is like putting a square peg in a round hole. It just doesn't work. So if you have a terrier, maybe you want to do some barn hunts with the dog, right? And the rat is protected. I know people are going to be upset about the rat. I don't like the idea of the rat being, tortured either. I guess they protect it, but find out what your dog loves to do. That's what I would really focus on. There's an activity does a dog like to chase? Maybe lure coursing. Does a dog like, I would always do obedience, no matter what, there would be obedience. Then I would look at something, lure coursing is a very prey oriented thing, whether they're chasing a bag. But that being said, be careful with a dog like a terrier that you're going to do something like lure coursing with, that the dog starts to get their prey drive up. I would start working with being able to put that prey drive in check. So I would use it as a training tool. I would have the dog chasing something and then put obedience in it so that you can harness the natural drives of the dog, but also be able to put them in check and manage them. Okay, Dawn. How do you get a sense of what's the best length of training session? What signs should I look for in my dog? Length of training session, I've got a short on my computer somewhere that I got to put out about that. Most people train their dogs too long. They overdo it with their dogs, right? They just keep going and going and going. I've got this internal clock that clicks at about 11 to 12 minutes. That's when I kind of know, okay, it's getting a little bit long for the dog. You should be able to read your dog, right? You should be able to read the dog. And it's wrong if you read, okay, the dog's checking out, I have to stop. That's already too late, right? You don't want to check out when the dog, you don't want to stop when the dog is checking out. You want to stop before the dog is checking out. I'll tell you what I would do is I would set a clock on my watch or my phone and say, set that clock for 7 minutes. And if at 7 minutes the dog is still going strong, stop. Don't push it beyond that. I would never do a training session longer than, with the average dog, longer than 10 minutes. That's it. I would do 10 minutes. I would put the dog in a crate. I'd go do something, check your email, check your text, go to social media, come back, do another session. That's what I do with Shmoo. Like he's right here now. He wants to train, but I've got a bunch of lives to do. So I'll take him out in the backyard. We'll train. I'll come back in here, do some work for a half hour, go back outside, do another 15 minutes, come back inside, go back outside, do 15 minutes. And when I take him to the park to train, which I do every day, I take him out, do my session, put him in, check my social media, check my email, make my phone calls, take him back out, and I'll do 3 sessions. I'll spend 2 hours, I'll do 3 15-minute sessions. And that's kind of the best way to run it with your dog. Dana says, I have a Mal and she just started training with the tug and she loves it. Good for you. Okay, Akela says, thank you so much. I do live in the UK, so e-collar is banned, but I will do my best. I'm not sure if they're banned in the UK. Check with Jamie. Jamie Penrith, take the lead dog training. He'd be my first and only person I would talk to with that. Adopted a Mal, German Shepherd, big chewer, loves to play, would entertain himself. 2 years later, never chews, never plays by himself. Developed human and dog aggression, helped restore playfulness. I would wonder certainly what caused that to happen. Why did this dog, I mean, if he's not chewing, that's a good thing. But I mean, there was something there that changed. I mean, maybe you didn't continue to socialize the dog, but at 2 years old, the dog is in no way fully developed. In no way what you're seeing today is what you're going to see in 4 years from now, and even 2 years from now. During this 18-month to 36-month window, there's this adolescent switch that's working with the dog. They're trying to figure things out. My suggestion to you is get this dog out, correct the dog for the wrong things. Do not correct the dog for suspicion things. Teach the dog, control the dog, but there's a time to use a correction and there's time to not use the correction. But you must understand. You might need to get somebody to work with you to understand, because if the dog is just kind of suspicious about another dog and you give them a firm correction for that, you're going to put them in a wrong mindset. You have to be able to read the dog. True aggression, yes, we do correct it. Signs of aggression, yes, we do correct it 100%. But if the dog is just suspicious or something, we teach the dog. We teach the dog with low level stimulus around, and we teach the dog fair corrections, fair structure, and then we put them in a position to test that. But you need to train this dog. Okay. Zihao Liu, I hope I said that right. What games can I play with my 11-month-old Romanian rescue dog that reacts to other dogs on her walks because she wants to play with them? Well, you can teach your dog to play with you. And what I would probably do is, if this dog is always trying to play with other dogs, that when she goes to play with, or he goes to play with other dogs, have a toy with you. So the dog is play with the other dogs, correct, hey, and then play with the dog, play tug with the dog, have the ball, give him some treats. Let the dog see that every time the dog is stimulated by another dog, you bring out cookies, you bring out treats, you bring out toys or something like that. Everything should be geared back to you, 100%. There should be no way that this dog should be focused on other dogs, because it's going to bite him in the butt. Okay. Not sure if this is a question. I have an 18-month-old Mally. She has been in professional service dog training since she was 2 months old. And graduates in October. What are your thoughts on service dogs being trained for personal protection? No. I'm retired, disabled, and suffer from PTSD with slight paranoia. If you suffer from PTSD with slight paranoia, and I'm in no way making this a light issue, you don't want a Malinois protection dog. I mean, it's already surprising to me that they would take you, who, if you have PTSD and slight paranoia, give you a Malinois as a service dog, because a Malinois is such a high-strung, thin-nerve dog. I think it would totally be the wrong breed for you. I would have probably gone with something like a Lab or a Golden Retriever. But that being said, they probably know more than me, and if the dog's been training for that long, they're probably doing a really good job. But I would in no way do protection with your dog. Wouldn't do it. Let the dog be a service dog. That's what you have. You need a service dog. You're telling me you have paranoid, PTSD, and are partially disabled. Please let this dog know one job in its life. That is to be your service dog, not to be protective. If God forbid anything were to happen, I guarantee you any dog any dog will save your life, right? But to put that in there, it will certainly confuse the servicing. That's 100% my opinion. Um, okay. I have a German Shepherd, a GS service dog. I'm assuming it's German Shepherd. He's having hip problems. I'm going to have to get a new dog to train. I'm concerned about introducing her to a new dog. How will she feel? I don't want her to feel like she is worthless and decline further. How would you go about this? Well, I would try to find somebody who trains service dogs and ask them, because um, if you need a new service dog, you need a new service dog. I mean, I don't know if it's common practice to keep the old service dog. I don't know that, but I would ask somebody about that. I mean, I would try to, I always integrate new dogs using a crate, and I always make all the dogs equally as important. Everybody is very important. The new dog is the less of the important dogs. I don't know how people train their own service dogs. I don't know I don't train service dogs. It's not a skill I have. Um, I don't know how it works, and I'm not interested in learning, but I would certainly think you'd want to integrate them slowly so that they do get along. Um, okay, I'm going to look through here, see if there's, I'm going to have to wrap this up in 1 minute here. Da, 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 da. How would you suggest working with a Mali 7-month-old pup who is nervous passing strange dogs, will bark but no aggression, smells, and will listen to heel, continue walking? Keep doing exactly what you're doing. If it's just a suspicion, a curious thing, don't make a big deal about it. Just keep going, praise the dog. She barks, ah, girl, come on, let's go. Oh, come on, let's go. She barks, hey, look at me, da, 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 let's go. Don't start overcorrecting the dog. 7 months old, dog could just be in a kind of a spook phase of their maturity. I would not worry about it. But if you're seeing aggression, you're seeing hackles come up, stiff posture, then I would correct it. Guys, I'm sorry. I gotta wrap this up. Okay, I'm gonna do this last question because my Mally is my service dog for PTSD and seizures from TBI. We were told to get another Mally for bite work, not the service dog. Thank you for your help, but you're right. Okay, good. So there, rest my case. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for training your dog. Thank you for letting me be a part of it. Again, this was a really interesting, it was a very low viewership thing, which is fine with me. It's 123 people. But the fact that I was able to touch 123 lives today is very important to me, because even if I just help one of you with your dog, then my job was, my time was very, very well spent. That's the goal. I'm tired of this controversial stuff, putting stuff out there, all this bite work, all this other stuff. I'm not here to gain new followers. Sadly, it's not going to happen. I'm not the TikTok guy. I'm not the guy who has these, crazy videos that's going to get all this. But I will always be the guy that tells you the truth. I will always be the guy that cares about your dog as much as you do. And I will always be the guy who's here when it comes down to caring about dogs and doing what's best for them. If you want to learn more, check out my online training at robertcabral.com. You can go over there and join up. And if you're a member from there, I'm going to hop out of here and hop right into the members live in about 1 minute. I'll see you there. Thanks for tuning in.